Hello and welcome to the Wonder Women podcast. My name is Katie Freeman and I am your host. Every Wednesday and Friday, I bring you an interview with a female or non-binary maker from all kinds of making and artistry from all over the world. Today's guest is Karla Diaz. Karla is a woodworker and a wood turner, currently living in the LA area, but she spent most of her life and was born and raised in Mexico City, Mexico. Really fantastic time chatting with her, and I'm going to warn you in advance that we definitely do spend time geeking out over power carving tools towards the end of the episode. So that may be something that you also enjoy listening to, or not. That's up to you, but just letting you know that that's coming. I also want to let you all know that given the schedule that has come about for this summer, I am actually going to be taking a vacation from the podcast for the month of June. So there will be no new episodes in the month of June, but I'll come right back in July with brand new episodes every Wednesday and Friday, just like always, just like scheduled. But there won't be anything for June. All right. Before we hop into the podcast episode with Karla, I want to give a big shout out and thanks to the patrons over on Patreon. So thank you so much, Kevin Lefty's Woodshop, Christy Twisted Twine, Christina B, Jeremy Spees, Sammy, Go Sammy Lee, Sven, Dwarf Size Workshop, Rachel, Moody Makes, Bonnie, Toolmom Bonnie, toolmomstore.com, Laura, Oakley Soap Company, Mary Lou, Made by Mary Lou, Amy, Bison Valley Carving, Dan and Kelly, Reclaim Living Store, Brandy, Studio, Obey, Kathy, the one with the tools, Ellen, Little Bear Furniture, and Ethan Carter Designs. Thank you all so very much for your continued and ongoing support, helping me to produce 2 episodes a week, every week. And if you want to get your name added to this list that's read off at the start of every episode, go ahead and head on over to patreon.com/Wonder Women Pod. And that's women, WOMEN pod. And check out joining over there on Patreon. All right, with no further ado, here is Karla Diaz.
Okay, good. So, well, my name is Karla Diaz. I'm originally from Mexico City. And in fact, I studied business administration, but I decided that was not my thing. And I started to learn a little bit of woodworking. So I've been a woodworker for almost, like 14 years.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And so I had my workshop in Mexico City, and then I met someone and I moved here, and I'm in LA now. And I've been here for 4 years exactly in May. And so now I have my workshop here too. We got married. I have a wife, and then, pretty much this is me.
Okay.
Very few words.
Very few words. Excellent.
Yeah, because I could just keep talking and talking.
Excellent. Well, not that it's necessarily relevant to this conversation, but I have neighbors that are good friends of my wife and I. They live just a couple houses down, and she was born in Mexico City, though she grew up in this. I think they moved when she was like in elementary school. here to the US, but that's super fun, kind of getting to learn about, you know, a little bit of her history and growing up there compared to here and all the differences and culture and stuff.
Yeah, it's even though we are pretty close, maybe the north of the country, people from the north are more similar to the Americans, but I am in the center of the middle of the country, so it's very, very different. The culture, like it has taken me a little bit to adapt. Of course, people are very nice, which that helps. It's just more about we always make fun because we love just sitting at the table, eating, talking. And so when we finish a meal, for example, it's like when everything starts, right? Like we just start talking. And here it was like so traumatizing because he was like, we finished eating and okay, let's go. And I was like, but wait, this is the moment where we're going to enjoy and just feel and talk.
Yeah.
So things like that. But I mean, it's fine. I'm getting used to it.
I have not had the I haven't had the opportunity to go to Mexico. My wife and I lived in San Diego County for a while in California for work, and she had the opportunity to go. She actually went to Mexico City, in fact, for work a couple of times. But I never had the chance to go, and we never did make it. You know, we talked about taking trips to like Tijuana or something just to kind of go and explore, but we never made it. So it's definitely on my list. I'm one of those people who have not been outside the US. So both, I'm like Canada and Mexico, I need to make sure I can get to before.
Yeah, you should. I mean, yeah, Canada, it's a beautiful country too. And Mexico in general, it's not just about the diversity, like about nature, but also because of the history is like for not because it's my country, but I mean, it's just like been there for like civilizations for such a long time that it's amazing to see all that. And yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting country. So yeah, don't take longer. Just go. Don't think about too much.
Yeah. So okay, so you were born in Mexico City. Did you live like then childhood all the way through adulthood there in Mexico, like in Mexico City, or did you live elsewhere within the country as well?
No, I've lived just there in Mexico City. I went to live like 1 year in the Netherlands, 6 months in Colombia, but I mean that was like
for the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
So did you go to university there then when you said you got business administration?
Yeah, I did everything, everything there. Even my master because when I decided I wanted to do something more creative, I decided maybe I should just study something totally related. My dream always was to study design, kind of. I don't know why I didn't do it. I come from my mom is a business. She studied business administration, so I guess that was just like I'm going to study business, and I never questioned myself. So I just did it, and by the time I like sat down and started to think like, is this really what I want to do? So it was a bit too late, but they said it's never too late.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I studied my master too in industrial design.
Okay. So as a kid, were you interested in art or just like other creative things when you were a child?
Yeah, I wouldn't say art per se, but I loved building stuff. Yeah, like I would just I would get a lot of garbage, basically, like all the waste, like the rolls from the toilet paper. I don't know, anything for me looked like I could use this for something. And I would collect a lot of trash. And then I would try to make like invent, or how do you say, to invent something. Or I was not very good at it though. Nothing really exceptional came out of this, but yeah, I loved it. I just in fact, I loved wood, but as a kid it's very difficult to, because it's hard. I don't know, you need like more tools than, so, and nobody in my family is like crafty or anything. So my dad loves tools, like to fix stuff for the house or things like that, but not like he had a workshop or
right, like a woodworking shop type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the middle of the city also, it's not really common. So yeah, I didn't have enough tools, so I just with whatever I could find around. But yeah, I always loved it to create stuff.
Yeah, I was very much the same way as a kid. Like I had just, my mom was a single mom when I was young, and we lived in an apartment, so there was not really access to tools, but I would use like pretty much any box I could find or anything out of cardboard to make crazy things. And my kids still do that now, even though they have access to a whole shop full of tools. We make quite a few things out of cardboard, and it's fun.
I know.
Yeah,
cardboard is the best material at that age.
Yes, yeah. So, you went to school for business administration, and then eventually realized you wanted to do something else. What brought you to like wood specifically?
It's funny. I always think about this night when I was so I studied business administration. I went to the Netherlands for 1 year to do an internship there. I came back and I was pretty focused on finding a job in the government to help companies to export. I was like very, sorry.
No problem. No problem.
Nobody calls me and like never. But and it's a friend who's very insistent, so I hope he doesn't try again. It surprised me. So what I was saying, yeah. So I used to be like very, I feel like very structured in my life, like what I have to do and what. So I was looking for this job that was very specific. And one night I was just laying down in bed, like about to fall asleep, and I started to design in my mind like a ton of the stuff, and with wood. I don't know. It's like for my family, wood, I always felt it was something very important, like a precious material. Like when my parents would buy a dining table or anything, they paid so much attention that it was made out of wood, or built something like for the bar or whatever. And again, like hire a carpenter, a woodworker to build it in wood. And the floors, like also some of the floors, maybe they could not afford all of them, but some of our bedrooms were wood, and they were like, I felt like they were very proud of that. And I guess that's why I fell in love with wood. Like wood became like very precious to me too. And I mean, how cannot it, it's just like, it's so
right.
I don't know. I love it. So that night I started just to think about maybe I could make, which I thought they were like super amazing designs. And I thought like I could make much better stuff than what you can find on the stores. And I just started to draw stuff, and I was like, wow, these ideas are amazing. And I thought like maybe I could learn some woodworking and start making the stuff. So while I was looking for this job, which took me quite a while, I I was asking and trying to find a workshop to learn woodworking. And But yeah, I mean, from the beginning, it was wood. There was never a question or anything. No any other material just crossed my mind. I don't know why. I kind of, it's in me or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that's how. And then I found this. It was so hard to find. Now it's kind of a fashion thing, but back then, which was like, oh my god, like yeah, it's very long. It was just like almost 20 years ago. Yeah,
Right.
kind of. And yeah, like 15 or 16 years ago, there was nothing in Mexico City. I would find the perfect workshop, but every time it was somewhere else, either in another country or in another state. And so fortunately, a friend of mine, his dad used to make wooden pieces, like, I don't even know. I think that kind of stuff, like accessories or something. And I asked him if he didn't know anything about, where did he learn or how did. So yeah, he told me about this. It's for the government, so to build the skills in people, or how do you say?
Yep. Like a skilled trade type thing.
Yeah, like they have very like technical careers or stuff, so people can learn to improve or to get a job or something. So, but that's where I started. And from the first class, I loved it. It was like,
you did you feel like you were home, like that was where you belonged, to where you were meant to be type thing?
yeah, exactly. In fact, yeah, I always say, like, my mom was like, now what, like now you come with one new idea. We're like, I want to take these woodworking classes. So they even came with me to buy I had to bring like this board and wooden board and buy certain stuff, like my planner. And so I went to the first class and I had to cut a bunch of little, the big board and little boards. And I was sweating and just like to use this. So it was like, and everything was by hand, which I loved even more. So I don't know. Yeah, just the feeling of cutting and knowing that I was building something with my hands was like, yeah, it was like, since that day, it was like, this is my thing. And I came home and my mom was like, okay, did you have enough? And I was like, no, I just realized I love it. And she was like, oh my God. So it's to invest in your education and you want to. But I mean,
I understand that, though. I mean, there's something, at least to me, like I still just love the days, in the shop there's always like a wide variety of things that you work on, but I really love those days where it's like really kind of more like hard physical work, and like just getting covered head to toe and like wood chips and sawdust, and it just feels, I don't know, it just feels like you really accomplished something and really like walked away where you can actually see the work that you accomplish, like in a physical form.
Yeah, and also this feeling of tiredness is like, yeah, I remember now that you say like covered in dust. I remember I used to come back home at night and kiss her good night, and she was like, "Oh my God, like dropping all this dust in me," and I was like, "Oh, sorry." Or people would say like, "You smell like wood," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I was working."
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the feeling of make a big effort and, as you said, like then accomplish something is.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, again, I don't know a ton about Mexico, but having talked with some others who grew up there and now do woodworking, like at least in your area, it sounds like it was hard to even find a place to learn. But were you like the only woman taking the classes?
We were just like, we were four of us,
Okay.
but it was like maybe 30, like we were like 10% more or
Okay.
less about the, but the funny thing is that we were the ones who last longer, I think. And all the guys were like just talking, like it was like the time to have fun, and we were, I feel, very committed to what we were doing. So yeah, it was like, I mean, yeah, I'm surprised that we were four, like, like it could be just me.
Right.
But yeah, especially in the city, I don't know, it's not very, I mean, of course there are a lot of woodworkers, but just the small shops, and they work by themselves or
Right.
like that. But yeah, we were four and we were the best. I'm kidding.
It's okay if you're not kidding, because I would actually believe you if you were not kidding. Hey friends, I wanted to tell you about an awesome brand I discovered that you might love as well. Have you ever spent a ton of money on clothing that was supposed to be high performance, only for it to end up at the back of your closet because it just doesn't fit right? I personally hate when this happens. I get excited about a new pair of work boots, and then I'm disappointed to find out they just weren't designed for me. Discovering Athena Outfitters was a game changer for me. Athena Outfitters is a quality workwear brand for hardworking women. All of their items are handpicked to meet the needs of women in the trades, not just sized down versions of items designed for men. They've got great workwear essentials like comfortable, soft, and safety toe boots, and options for my active lifestyle when I'm off the clock as well. Shopping with Athena Outfitters saves me time and energy because I always know I'm getting a high quality product that also looks and feels great. Next time you're looking for gear with grit, check out AthenaOutfitters.com. That is ATHENA Outfitters.com, and use special code at checkout MM15 to get a 15% discount because you listen to the Maker Mom podcast.
Yeah, well, in fact, my friend, the one I started my shop in Mexico City, he used to say that he preferred better to work with women than with men, because yeah, except for maybe a friend who came and she kind of desperate him, but in general, like, no, you work better, you're more focused on it, and yeah.
I was told when I took some classes at a college for woodworking as well. I didn't finish a program, but my first like professor there said that he always enjoyed having women in his classes when he did, because he's like, they're so much more like detail oriented and
Right.
like tend to come up with more intricate design work, and just pay attention to, like he always said, we were like the safest ones in class and stuff like that. Like we just pay attention to more of that.
Exactly.
Stuff.
Yeah, because guys get like too confident sometimes. Not all of them, of course, right. But a lot of them. It's like just like with the tools and just in fact, I used to quite like to wonder like why, especially before, not very long time ago, like it was more like a just men thing, no? Because of that, because especially, and even before, when you need to use more maybe hand tools or with so much precision and so much, like it seems not to stereotype role,
right,
but I was saying like maybe as women sometimes we are a bit more, well, not me, not all the time. I have to admit, I'm very desperate and I just want to put everything together, and I need to build up my patience skill.
Yeah.
But in general, yeah, it's more
Yeah.
like to put more focus on the details.
Mm-hmm.
But well, fortunately now more women. In fact, yeah, when I was in high school, we had like these workshops too, and there they had electricity and woodworking.
Oh.
But
Mm-hmm.
it was, I don't think there was ever a girl.
Yeah.
Like I did cooking. I don't know, I
Mm-hmm.
don't even like cooking. I hate cooking, but
Mm-hmm.
I just went to cooking. Yeah.
Was it ever so like yeah, with that example, was it offered as an option? Or was it even seen as an option for you to take woodworking or electrical versus cooking in high school?
Yeah. It's funny because in theory you can put any of the options they had, which
Mm-hmm.
were like a ton. But well, the funny thing is that you don't even question it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you grow up just like
Yep.
with that idea, I guess, like, oh no, that's for boys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's funny. Like now, like the society, I think, I feel it's changing,
Mm-hmm.
and now, like kids are. I feel that they can. Um, yeah, it's not that segregated, right?
Yeah.
Like every
Yeah.
option for
Yeah.
anything, even with toys or.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but back then, yeah, it was something that you would not even question. It was just
Right.
like, even though I was like kind of a tomboyish girl,
Mm-hmm.
like I grew up with my brother. He's just like 11 months apart from me. He's
Okay.
younger, but we're pretty close.
Yep.
And we liked the same, like he liked guns and I liked guns too. So we were pretty much like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I liked playing soccer, but
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, anyways, I didn't think about that back then,
Yeah.
which I regret, but it's fine.
So one other question, I guess, kind of along this line. So when you went into that first woodworking class, and you said you were kind of surprised that there was four of you, did you expect to be like? Were you expecting to be the only woman there?
I don't remember. I don't think I even uh, thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like in general, once I started, in fact, um, I've never seen or I've never felt like the girl in the boys' club.
Mm-hmm.
I've just felt like me with, like
Mm-hmm.
it turns out that there's not a lot of women, but not like I feel different or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like part of like if we are just people,
Yep.
not men or women, just
Right.
like woodworkers,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, but I also don't feel, how do you say, uncomfortable or with
Mm-hmm.
guys, like,
Mm-hmm.
and in fact, I am the one who gives the order. So, so
Excellent.
I don't mind. Yeah. But it's funny that it's like, yeah, when I was at this class, I mean, we had a teacher, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but all of them, I would be doing something, and each of them would comment, you know what, you should do it like this because it's better. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. And I would try it, right? And then someone else would come and I'm like, you should do it like this because this is better. And like everybody had their own way to
Right.
do it until I learned, and I was like, whatever, I have my own way. Like, but
Mm-hmm.
they felt like each of them felt like they had the best way to do it. That
Right.
was the only thing. But none of the girls ever, we never talked or anything or said that, but
Right. So when did you find um, turning?
oh, uh this is like a story forever that the friend I had that works the woodworking shop in Mexico City. he had like pieces of a lathe, like, and he always used to tell me like, if you want me, I can build it for you and you can learn with turning. I was like, no, that seems pretty scary. I don't want to do that. And he would show me all these books and I'm like, no, that's not my thing. And he insisted like forever. I don't even know why. Like he could have just built it for himself and try himself, but he wanted me to do it. And one day I was on Instagram and I don't know why I ended up with her name is Sylvia Song, and it's an artist. I don't know why she show up in my feed or whatever, and I started to see her pieces back then, because now it doesn't seem that she makes them anymore, or I don't know, but I thought they were beautiful. I was like, oh wow, like very simple in a way, because in fact they're pretty difficult to make. And I felt like, oh, I want to make something like this. And then I was like, hey, what about if I get a lid? And my friend was like, I kept telling you for years. And I was like, well, now it's my moment. So, but it was funny because I don't think I even would have known that machine exists, like.
It wasn't also something at the school that you went to. They didn't have.
They did have one. Sorry.
Okay.
They did have one, but I used it because I was making these portraits portraits. No, well, to put pictures.
Oh yeah.
So, which I thought they were very cool because they were like kind of in a curve. Which I mean they weren't really, but whatever. So the teacher, because I needed to sand them, the teacher told me you could put a cylinder with sandpaper, and he put it on the lathe. Like just sand it with that's how I used it for.
Oh, I gotcha.
So
yeah.
I had I never. Maybe if someone used it, I never noticed it. And again, it's even here. I don't think it's very common in general, right? Like with woodworkers, it's not like now it's becoming more.
Yeah, probably. I think there's like two types of woodworkers. It tends to be, right? Like it's like either you're a turner and like nothing else, or you do everything else and you don't turn. Like it, right. I don't feel like there's a very big group of woodworkers who do kind of like a little bit
turning
of all of it. I mean, I took a class in turning and I could see where it's like addictive. Like I love the idea that you can just spend a couple hours at a lathe and come away with something finished. Like that's awesome. Like there's not a lot of other woodworking that you can do that, right? It usually takes more time. So I think that's awesome, but it's also one of those things of like, eventually someday I think I'll have a lathe, but it probably won't be like my go-to thing. It will
like
just
a hobby.
It would just be an additive to like what I already do, I guess. So yeah, I think you're right. But there are definitely a lot of people who like just turn and don't do anything else. And there's a whole, well, as you know, I mean, there's all kinds of things you can turn on a lathe that people would probably be surprised at, that's where it gets made versus another method.
Yeah, exactly. But in fact, that's what happened to me when I had this dream. Well, not dream, but I was thinking about all these pieces that I could make. I always, from the beginning, I always thought like I will focus in small pieces because I'm too desperate. I will need to build something and to see it, finished right away. Yep. And so then when I started learning the lathe and about turning, I thought like, this is it. This is my thing.
Right.
Because of that, first of all, it will always be symmetrical, right? Which I could never do with the furniture, I think, because it would always be twisted or whatever, I guess, because of how I work. So there's no way to mess it up in a lathe. It will always be same. And even if it doesn't, it won't look that bad, I think.
Right.
Still could be functional. And yeah, you can finish a piece in a short period of time. And that's why, I think that's like, this is for me more than building big stuff.
A big piece. Yeah. I'm still like, I'm kind of like halfway in between. Like, personally, the symmetrical thing is not like something that I necessarily like aesthetically. So that's why I found power carving, because it's like, I want it to be more free form, but I also want it to be something that can be done quickly, and it doesn't have to be done exact. Like I get really frustrated when things have to be like very exact in order to work together.
I know.
It just frustrates me. So I like power carving because there's a lot of freedom in it. And it was more accessible to me. Like, lathes can get expensive if you want like a really nice one. So it was like, but an angle grinder isn't that pricey, and like getting into the tools and stuff. And again, then I can be kind of, it doesn't, like, I can have more material on one side versus another, and it could be, an odd shape. And I like that.
I know, that's exactly when I feel like I just got into woodworking like here I go. So I never took the time to do any research, and I'm a curious person. I consider myself curious, but I don't know, I just like when like like I was focused also on design. So that's why I studied the master in industrial design, because I wanted to design, and I love designing furniture, not making it, but designing it. And I love furniture in general. But then when I started to see like more tools, and like, oh, how could I use this one for, or and then I thought like, oh, if I knew, maybe I could have just focused on that, and I would not go for the lathe because of that too. Like, it's easier to get like a better shape in the lathe. But I'm still not that perfect. I'm not a perfectionist. And I'm exactly like you. That's why I was like, because me too. I hate when I have the pressure of things being perfect. So maybe that's kind of why I started with texture, because even at the lathe, it would have like certain mistakes. Sometimes it would be because I need to put something more fun, more fun into the piece. And sometimes it started too because, I had I made a mistake here and here, and it doesn't look perfect. So I have to hide this. So I'm like a perfectionist imperfect. I don't know how to say it. Like, I do see the imperfection. Then I would try to hide them with something, but imperfection more on purpose.
Yeah, no,
I don't know, it doesn't make sense.
I think it makes complete sense. And I think honestly, I think every woodworker probably feels the same way. Like, I can still, like, any piece that I have in my home, I can probably still walk up to it and tell you exactly where I made the mistakes that I made while making that piece. But that, again, is part of why I like power carving, because yes, I still know the mistakes I made with it, but nobody else in the world knows what I had imagined for that piece except for me. So exactly. They see a finished product that they really enjoy and think is wonderful. And so to me, it's like, that's the joy, is it's like more forgiving. Like, it's not as noticeable. Whereas like if you're doing furniture and precise joinery, if you cut a dovetail wrong, like it shows, right? It's like glaringly obvious even to somebody who doesn't know woodworking. So I think that's harder, and I have great respect for people who like really hone those skills of like precision. I just know I don't have the patience for it. Like I just don't have the patience for it.
I know, me too. I feel so jealous when I see, people are so with the light, like, and everything is perfect. Yeah. And it's like, oh my God, I wish I knew how to do that, but I'm just like,
yeah.
And I don't know, I'm so bad at sharpening my tools too. But so, and then when I realized I wanted a grinder, in fact, for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And but I never had it. If I did, maybe I don't know if I would have tried the lathe, but whatever. I just bought one recently. I thought like maybe I should try, and I could combine both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, totally. They would fit very well together. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just got one, and it's like, but really, I don't know why, because they are not that expensive. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you can buy just to experiment something very cheap, which I usually don't. I'm kind of against of cheap tools, because it could be dangerous, or they could last just one day, which would be more expensive.
Yes.
But so whatever. I didn't know which one I should buy, and then I finally got it. Sorry. I finally got my grinder, and now I am doing exactly that, just like making the imperfect pieces, because for fun. And so, as you say, like, it doesn't matter kind of like if you've made a mistake, you can always fix it with other thing, and you have also a unique piece too.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah, you can't when people see something like on my Instagram that they like, and they're like, I want, to get that, I always have to tell them, like, I can get you something similar, but it will never be the same, because I make one of a kind. I don't work from a template, and I very much let the piece of wood kind of dictate too, right? So like, I'm really, really picky about sourcing my wood and where I go and the pieces that I grab. And usually when I grab a piece of wood, I see exactly what I want from that piece. And so, and it comes out fabulous when it's done. And then someone's like, I want that. And it's like, that's great, but I'm never going to find that same piece of wood again. Like, I'm never going to find one that has like those flares or those, that grain structure or anything. I can find something similar, but it won't ever be like the exact same.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because also like calling your tool, it's so. I mean, there are a ton of people who are very precise, and they make these like super artsy pieces. It's the same. How could you develop that kind of patience and precision? And but well, in general, you're more allowed to be a bit more like rougher.
Yes. Yep. Hi, makers. Today's episode is brought to you by toolmomstore.com. Tool Mom and Company is for all ages, genders. They have what you need for your one-stop tool-related merchandise of gifts and clothing. The products are fun, fashionable, one of a kind. In fact, I have two of the mugs. One has a circular saw with flames coming off of it. It says "Go Girl." Another one has the definition of a tool chick. Both of them are super awesome, and I have coffee out of them almost every morning. So check out toolmomstore.com or find them on Instagram at toolmombonnie. You can receive an extra 20% off at checkout by using the code MAKERMOM. So okay, so yes, you add texture to your pieces, and you also add color, which I would say is not. I think that's unique for turners. Like, not a ton of wood turners, I feel like, add color to their pieces. Like, they usually stay with like just the wood. Um, so I guess which came did the color come before the texture, or did they kind of come at the same time?
Well, in fact, before, since I was building furniture, well, not building, designing.
Yeah.
Well, I did build too, but I helped mostly to sand. But um, I was always like, I would say to my clients, like, it's going to be solid wood, so I don't even recommend to put any to dye it or to put any color. I was like, I would respect the wood for what it is because it's just beautiful. It doesn't need any color. So I would be the first person against putting color in wood. But then I don't know why I started to one side started to make the balls. And also I felt like there are so many colors in this life and we never use them, like we are so afraid of them, like even in our houses all the colors are very plain and very light, and I don't know, they're amazing. They show emotions, and also I don't know why. I would say I've always wanted to be kind of this Scandinavian style, very minimalist, very simple. But once I have the piece, I'm like, I don't know, it feels like it needs something. Like
needs a little spice, like a little.
Yeah, exactly. That's how Sylvia Song's pieces were, like very simple, very minimalist, and that's why I loved them. But once I was building, it was like, maybe we can do something extra and put some more stuff, and I don't know why color. Like, yeah, it feels like it's either texture or color. And I would add some texture, and then I was like, it still needs something. And I just started to experiment just to see. And at the end, yeah, maybe for some pieces, it was like, maybe this was too much. The wood was very beautiful from the beginning. Yeah. But I also like the contrast, like, because you still have it on the inside. And to have color on the outside, it just makes it fun, I feel. So
I agree. There's like I haven't done it quite yet, but I really want to play with, like, I enjoy using the shosujiban technique, the burning, and getting that contrast. So I really want to do like probably a bowl where it's like I burn the outside but keep the inside like clean, just the wood grain, just to get that contrast. And I've done that with so I know you use milk paint, and I tend to add color by dyeing, just because I I like to still see the wood grain come through, but with the pop of color. So with, like, when you do a piece with the milk paint and the texture, I'm totally going to ask you a process question here because I'm just curious. Do you add the texture after the paint, or are you like painting around the texture?
I do both.
Okay.
Because the same, I've painted a piece, then it's like, oh, maybe I could add some texture. So then with the Dremel, I do. That's when the little dots are natural color of the wood, and the rest has a little bit of color. Sometimes I do the text, I make the texture, and then it's like, maybe we can put some color here. So I don't know, it's just like
a little bit of
Yeah, sometimes I would make a texture and paint. It depends, right? Like if it has like this kind of grooves around it, then I would make the groove and then just paint it like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I did a piece, a carved table piece that, like, I did the dimples. I carved, a dimple texture design around it. And that stayed natural, but then I dyed the rest of the exterior. But I had a hard time because I eventually decided to do the texture and then add the dye on top, because I was worried if I dyed that, sometimes when you're adding texture and that it jumps on you, I didn't want to have that like mistake so glaringly obvious if I did the dye first. But then it was really hard when I put the dye on, because it's like trying not to get into the texture was just, it was not easy to be able to pull that off. Yeah.
I can't even think about it. Like, I mean, it's a lot of detail.
It is. Yeah. So
it's less, I think, if you fix it.
Yeah.
Right. If it chips or something.
Yeah. 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 I think that would be interesting. Have you played at all with like layering the milk paint? With different layers of colors at all?
You mean I've mixed them?
Okay.
Like, but like, yeah, if I want to get like a different color, especially at the beginning that I bought just very few samples, and I would be like, oh, I want this to look a bit more like blah blah. So I used to mix them, but to be honest, it's kind of hard for me, at least, to work with milk paint. I mean, now I kind of understood a bit more, but it's not as easy as with vinyl, or how do you say? Well, the
acrylic,
acrylic. Sorry.
Yes, yeah.
You just open and you paint, and
no, it's milk paint is interesting. It's I've used milk paint for a few projects I did. Like for my kids, I made when they were little, I made small chairs for them. And I used milk paint because it's, non-toxic. So it's great for like things with kids. But I was doing the layering effect based off of like, I know it was colonial. I think it was colonial America, maybe, that did it, where they would do like different colors. So it would be like they'd put like a blue, and then they'd put like a red on top, and then they'd put like another color on top. And so as people sat in the furniture and as it wore, you would get this really cool effect of like it wearing down, where at touch points, and you'd see the different colors come through. And so I did that with my kids' furniture, and I kind of like falsified that wear, right? Like I sand through layers down to get like different effects. So I could see something like that being really kind of cool, with like, you could almost create a texture effect with milk paint, like on your bowls, just by sanding through to different colors.
Yeah, you're now giving me some. My brain starts like, yeah, now. Yeah, I kind of thought about that one day, more like, I don't know if you ever did it, like as a kid, we paint like a white sheet with different colors, and then put China dye ink.
Yep.
Like and black.
And
on
then like
top.
And scratch through. Yeah,
exactly. But in my mind, I thought like if I carve it, then I would take all the color, right? Like both. But I would need to do it more. Yeah, as you said, like maybe with sandpaper or with something very
or even like
or something,
or even like dental tools. You can use like the like really tiny, precise. Yeah,
exactly. but maybe one day when I don't know. If I wish I was good at paint and drawing, and then I could.
Mm-hmm.
I always also thought about making some cool draws on the bowls and.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not that's the one thing, like I'll ask people every now and again on Instagram, like, hey, what kind of things would you like to see me experiment to carve with? And usually somebody always throws in like an animal. And it's just like, that's not
An animal?
right. Like, like people do like
Ah,
chainsaw carving,
sorry. Yeah, yeah.
like bears and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. And
Uh-huh.
that's just not, I don't, and maybe it's just a lack of confidence, but I'm like, I don't consider myself an artist enough to like, I'm like, if I can't draw a realistic like animal, I don't know how I could carve one.
Exactly.
Like, I just don't know how I could do that.
I know, me too. I I just see that kind of stuff and I don't even question. I feel like, could I make that? Like, no,
No.
no, like, no.
Yeah.
I'm more into flat, curve, like
Yes.
more things that ended up being like looking more like an accident than just something intentional. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's why I liked designing because I could just use the computer, not even draw it. So I could just like, and I love that, like building stuff, putting things together and like how I'm going to make it. The other day, for example, we want to change the dining table of the house. And we thought, because we don't have a lot of room, so we thought maybe an expandable one. And I was looking online and I was like, they're horrible. They're like, I don't know. I just don't know. And I was like, maybe if I make one. And I spent the whole night just like thinking every single detail about how it was going to work and how so I love that stuff. But just
so
that precision, no.
Yeah.
To make it, no.
When you I know you still design furniture, right? So do you build it too when you design it?
No.
Okay.
Well, in fact, now I'm thinking I'm going to make the how do you say it? Like the table. But no, my friend from the workshop, he has like these legs. So I thought like, well, I can get the legs from you and I can build it.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to make that, but that's all because it's flat. It's not rectangle. Like it doesn't have to, be with something,
Right.
So as much as I would like to, maybe if I was working with someone, as I used to do, but myself, again, I feel so jealous of the people, all these videos and everything seems so easy. That's why also people think like woodworking sometimes is overpriced. But because, as my friends used to say, like, would you make me a table? I mean, it's just like a board with 4 things, And I'm like, until they, like one of my friends, in fact, she came to the workshop and I was like, you should go and just build something because she was not working at that time. She was going crazy. So she went and she built just like it was a mirror, a big frame. She was like, it was super simple. And she was like, I will never ask you again to go lower in your prices. Now I understand what it means to build something. And it was like, exactly, that's why woodworking is not that cheap. So and it's a lot of work and I would love to. As I was saying, like the videos you see people, like and then how do you say, like very fast.
Yep.
It seems like they just got bored. They just with
Mm-hmm.
like the router and put it together, and then you. That's no.
Nope.
No.
Well, what they don't tell you is that they edited out all the mistakes they made. And they also don't tell you how many years it took for them to get to that level of expertise.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just, and in fact, because you never end up learning, right? Like, you are always learning, especially because wood is a material that it will never be this, it's never the
Right.
same.
Mm-hmm.
Like about density, water or
Mm-hmm.
humidity, texture, and each of the species, even the same species,
Yep.
species is different.
Exactly.
So yeah, you learn with every single
Right.
board
Like,
you work with.
did that tree grow on a hill? If it grew on a hill, the grain is going to be different than if it grew on like a flat piece of land, right? Like all of those things play into um, that finished piece. And
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what's amazing about wood as a material. It's not the same. It will never be the same.
Yeah. Oh, I remember one day I built I made little table for a friend. What was it? I think it was a table. And I was always proud that we would always offer solid wood. Sometimes they were like, oh, but it's cheaper at this shop that it's, an expensive shop. And I was like, yeah, but that's not wood. And she's like, whatever. The sense that we made the piece for her. She was like, but it looks like uneven, the color.
Right.
And I was like, that's because it's wood.
But
It's like the paper with the
right.
draw of, for the printed. No, it's not a print or anything. It's real wood.
Yeah.
But anyways, people are also learning.
Yes.
About
appreciating. Part of your job when you're selling pieces to customers, right, is like educating them on like what it's worth and why it's worth that and what all goes into it and all of those things.
Yeah, that's why when I sell wool and I add this little note saying that this once was just a piece of wood, like a tree, and then it became a square or whatever. Because yeah, I think people kind of think that wolves are born like that, Sometimes I wonder that, like, and I don't blame them. I know if I was not doing this, I would think the same. But yeah, sometimes I wonder, like, what do people think, the shape comes from? Like, oh, because the trees are rounded. Maybe she just like, I don't know. She really didn't do much.
Yep.
Well, yeah. So she's like trying to transmit this.
Mm-hmm.
How was the process? And it was just not magic.
Yep, exactly. Well, we're at the end of our time together.
That fast?
I know. But I want to give you a chance to let people know like how they can find you and your work and kind of see what projects you're working on.
Well, now I have just my shop online, which is karladiaz.shop. Well, I guess you can they can find it written down somewhere.
Yep.
And I usually show on Instagram. I'm not a very active person. I try to, but this is just not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there I just show what I'm creating, every day. And now I'm doing that, like still working on this kind of line of products that are a bit more similar, talking about sizes and shapes. just changing the colors and textures because I always get bored. So as much as I try to decide, like, to say like, this is going to be my collection, like just these
Right.
colors, just these shapes, and just these sizes. And I ended up changing something. So there's each piece, I try to make like, for example, if you wanted 10 pieces of the same color, you could. But now I am just showing them as single pieces, each of them different. You can order something if you see one piece, for example, then you can order the set. Like I've made, for example, if they want for a wedding present, like this big bowl with little plates. So I would make that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So the specific orders, custom orders, I love that. And I am now like about to show like just like the misshapen pieces, the ones I experiment with a mix of lathe and carving tools.
Awesome.
So
I'm excited to see those.
I hope so. I hope you don't see them. I was like, oh my god.
Oh no. Trust me, I have I have two pieces. In fact, I just chucked into the firewood pile because I'm like, I give up. I can't get what I want out of them. I give up. So no, I still learn and experiment constantly. So I'm sure they will be great, and I'll know that you're learning, and that's the most important thing.
Thanks. I hope so. But just still need to give me some classes and teach me some stuff. I need to learn from you.
For sure.
Getting more tools because, I really enjoyed that.
It's kind of like it's to me, obviously, like carving is addictive. So I'm like continuously like I learn about a new tool, and it's like, oh, I need that tool to like,
I know
specific thing with.
And they have so many.
They
like
do.
The little stupid thing.
Yeah.
For this little stupid detail. Sorry about my language, but it's like, oh my god, if I had that one, then I could do everything. And it's a never-end story.
No, exactly.
I always say, like, we as woodworkers, sometimes I feel like we just work so we can buy more stuff.
Exactly. Well, I will for sure include the links to your website and to your Instagram for the show notes so people can find you. And thanks for chatting with me today.
No, thank you for having me here. It was really nice. I love that. I cannot talk to many people about woodworking, and I could talk for days. So it's really nice to at least have an opportunity to talk to someone as passionate as I am.
Yes, same. All right, again, that was Karla Diaz, and I will include the links on how you can follow along with her and see all the new collections that she's putting together that she talked about here towards the end of the episode. I'll include all of that in the description for today's episode, so you can find that just in that description box on whatever podcast app you're listening on. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, check out the description for the video down below to find those apps. If you enjoyed today's episode and any previous episodes, please remember to hit subscribe and tell a friend about the podcast. Let them know who you love learning about, who some of your favorite makers are from the podcast. Just share about it. Make sure you're following along over on Instagram at Wonder Women Pod. And again, it is Wonder Women, and that's WOMEN and Pod, POD. So over there on Instagram, and I've done a nice job. I kind of cleared things out on the link in the bio over there. So now you can listen or watch directly from that link, as well as get to Patreon directly from that link in the bio over there. When I am not interviewing fantastic makers and putting together podcast episodes, you can find me designing and making furniture and other home decor over at freemanfurnishings.com. and at Freeman Furnishings across all the social media platforms like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. I am active on a daily basis though on Instagram and TikTok, so you can head on over there at Freeman Furnishings and check out what project I have currently going on. Um, and say hi. I like it when people say hi and say you found me through the podcast. That's awesome. And a big shout out, one more big shout out to Tool Mom Bonnie of toolmomstore.com. I'm rocking one of her shirts right now, the hashtag woodworker shirt. You can get one of these and all kinds of different shirts over at her website, so go check that out as well. All right. I will see you all on Friday because it's Wednesday right now. I'll see you all on Friday. It will be a repeat episode, but it's a really good one and one that maybe not all of you have heard. So definitely check back in. It will still be brand new announcements and stuff. And reminder, I will be taking a vacation the month of June and be back starting fresh with brand new episodes in July. Have a fantastic rest of your week and see you all on Friday.
Wonder Woman, now the world is ready for